I have a question for you. What does a preacher say on the eve of a transfer of power that turns us into an autocratic oligarchy?
Yes.
While much of Los Angeles has become a hellscape caused by climate change. If you know anything about planning and making worship as a team in a congregation like this, you probably know that today's topic was chosen months ago, after the election. Of course, I had no idea what else would be happening today. The plan all along has been to talk about refugia, defined as locations which support an isolated or relict population of a once more widespread species. A refugium is usually a place that has been left uninhabitable as the result of human-made or natural disaster. A disaster like Love Canal. At the turn of the last century, Love Canal started off as a planned community near Niagara Falls, but in 1977 it was evacuated. The ground was so loaded with poison that it killed humans and wildlife. Or Mount St. Helens. That Washington Peak erupted in 1980, the worst volcanic disaster in American history. Great columns of ash, as tall as 12 miles, affected skies all the way to the East Coast and beyond. Lava finally stopped flowing 28 years later. It's still a barren, dry sea, unable to support much of any life. Over the years, I've seen plenty of agricultural fields that were intentionally burned to make space for and promote new life. Fire, I know, can be nature's fertilizing process, so I was surprised when I saw the aftermath of the Rim Fire, which tore through 250,000 acres of the Stanislaus National Forest in California, burning for 12 weeks in late 2013. The fire got its name from the landscape, which looks like a huge bowl carved out of the mountains. And when I saw it the following spring, it was so desolate, it looked like nothing could ever grow there again. And that's when I learned that when fires are bad enough and hot enough, they can actually kill everything in the soil. Not just worms, but microbes that make the soil alive, able to support more life for many, many feet down. So to plant anything in that dead soil is to kill the plant. Areas like that become refugia when they begin to support life again. When bits of life way beneath the surface find their way up. Or more likely, birds drop nutrients and microbes as they fly over. Or when groundhogs dig into the soil at the perimeter. It's a long, slow process, but areas of death and desolation do return to life. People now live at the edges of Love Canal, and life is slowly returning to the edges of the lava-covered area of Mount St. Helens. But being a refugium is different from resilience. Who cannot think about resilience? It's all we've heard about for the last 5 years. Resilience is the ability to withstand and quickly recover from, and that's key, quickly recover from challenges and difficulties. Resilience is about toughness and tenacity, being unwilling to leave or give up no matter what. In an ordinary fire, property owners and firefighters are resilient. The land itself is resilient. But it becomes a refugium only after all resilience has been exhausted. It has succumbed to destruction and is slowly coming back to life. Resilience is a characteristic needed for a short period in one life. But refugia are created over generations. Honestly, I thought it might be too soon to talk about refugia because of the fires in Los Angeles. After all, many of us know and love people who have been evacuated, have lost their homes and businesses and won't be returning for a long, long time, if at all. But then I thought the fires may hold lessons for us, like a dream full of symbolism about what is yet to come for us as a nation in the coming years. In the midst of fires, some cling for life and some die. Some are lucky and only have to live with dark skies and traffic. Maybe they forget how lucky they are and complain a bit. Maybe they do what they can to help. Some are hundreds of miles from fires, but checking in is safe on social media, while others are staying behind, risking their lives to save their homes and the homes of their neighbors. Everyone is affected in some way. Having money can help you survive, but it won't protect anyone from mayhem, not really. I could be describing the state of our nation, not just an ordinary area ravaged by wildfire. The thing is, with every passing year, it feels like we are in the midst of more and more mayhem in this age of late capitalism. The wealth gap is getting deeper and wider. Everything is commodified, from art and sports to food. Working class jobs are disappearing. Cities are prohibitively expensive for the vast majority of us. And we're all burned out, physically, emotionally, spiritually, by the constant stream of violence, chaos, and vitriol. Meanwhile, corporations have more power over how government operates, even the power to dismantle federal agencies. The three wealthiest men on the planet, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, are going to be on the inauguration platform tomorrow, with their combined net worth of slightly less than $1 trillion. You know who saw this coming 60 years ago? Reverend Dr. King. He said, capitalism does not permit an even flow of economic resources. With this system, a small privileged few are rich beyond conscience, and almost all others are doomed to be poor at some level. That's the way the system works. And since we know that the system will not change the rules, we are going to have to change the system. In his last couple of years of life, Reverend Dr. King spoke as much about the injustices of the war in Vietnam and the economic system of the United States as he did about civil rights in the context of race. You know, President Lyndon Johnson declared war on poverty in 1964. And after the 1967 riots in Newark and Washington, that war seemed like a failure. So with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Reverend Dr. King founded the Poor People's Campaign. Its goal was to help the poor start to see themselves as a unified body, capable of harnessing their own power to force change from the ground up. They planned a massive march on Washington for May 2nd, 1968. Reverend Dr. King was assassinated 4 weeks before it occurred. And the march did happen. With the leadership of Ralph Abernathy, marchers demanded full employment, guaranteed income, 500,000 affordable homes per year across the country, and $30 billion to be allocated to anti-poverty programs. $30 billion. That's only about 3% of the shared wealth of Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg. Can you imagine that? That's a drop in the bucket for them now. But in 1968, $30 billion was an unimaginable amount of money for most people, even more unimaginable than a civil rights movement without King. Then presidential candidate Richard Nixon used Congress to not capitulate to the mob, which Congress in turn ignored. The Poor People's Campaign lay fallow for 48 years until Reverend William Barber, a Methodist minister in North Carolina, revived the movement, beginning with regular days of activism called Moral Mondays. Then, on the 50th anniversary of Reverend Dr. King's murder, began what were called 40 days of civil disobedience across the country. Together, liberal ministers of all faiths staged die-ins, disrupted legislatures, and demanded an end to mass incarcerations, drug wars, and homelessness. My dear husband was roughed up and nearly arrested with Reverend Barber in Cleveland. Talking about the movement, Reverend Barber said, "We have these mythologies about the civil rights movement, about what it took to bring about change in America. But none of that happened overnight. You need to have a long-term vision. This right here, this is only our foundation." Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. after the inauguration, Reverend Barber will take part in a special worship service of the United Church of Christ called For Such a Time as This. You can join the watch party here, or you can watch from home by registering online. There's a link in the newsletter. Reverend Barber will be one of many leaders of liberal faith, like Bishop Yvette Flunder, the womanist pastor of City of Refuge in Oakland, California, one of the largest UCC congregations in America. She talks a lot about the womb of the church as the source of radical hospitality. They'll be joined by Shane Claiborne, one of the founders of New Monasticism, which for 20 years has been rethinking what community is, the intersection of intentionality and communion, where mutual care supersedes everything. Of course, also present will be Reverend Sophia Betancourt, president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. I first met Reverend Betancourt on the day of her graduation from seminary 21 years ago. So it's hard for me to sum up her ministry with one theme, but I know this. She is first and foremost an institutionalist with the deep knowledge required to do the work of rebuilding whatever has been destroyed. She's the kind of person who can nurture a refugium after a catastrophe. I can't wait to see them on the screen and to hear what they have to say about how we will move forward in an era of autocratic oligarchy. If anyone has answers for how to proceed in the midst of the great dismantling that is coming our way, it's them. 8 years ago, on the day after the election, millions of us converged on Washington, a massive group chanting "resist." We found power in each other, the power of resilience. We learned that we have the toughness to withstand and quickly recover from challenges. But now it's different. Late capitalism is running deeper. The earth has been scorched, life stripped from great swaths of it as the power of the EPA gets more eroded and climate change is undeniably irreversible. People of all faiths and races have embraced autocracy for the sake of lower gas and egg prices. It feels like what is about to happen is an inevitability because everything has led to this moment. So what we need now isn't resilience. We need to shed this idea that all we need is toughness to bounce back quickly. There's nothing quick about what is ahead of us. We need to cultivate a refugium. We need to be in this fallow period, grieving, mourning, but knowing with every fiber of our being that someday, somehow, something new will be introduced into the system to bring back the life of democracy. Something bigger than a groundhog digging at the edges, something more robust and life-giving than bird droppings. And it will happen. I don't know how, and I don't know when, but I know this. Even if it takes generations, new life will spring up as we dig at the edges and drop in the middle. And I have a feeling like William Barber, Yvette Flunder, Shane Claiborne, and Sophia Betancourt will have some answers. They'll help us choose life, shake off that which is already dead, and begin our climb back up. Maybe so. I'd like to invite you now to rise as you're willing and able and join in singing hymn number 323, Break Not the Circle. before we end, I have a couple of quick announcements. First, the viewing party that's going to be happening here tomorrow to watch that service. Check your email before you come, because if the weather's bad and it's icy, it will get canceled. And that email will include a link so that you can sign up to watch it at home. The Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations is looking for input from a required minimum of 25% of our congregations about which study action issues we think should be added to the 2025 General Assembly agenda. The issues that pass with a majority at GA will be adopted for 4 years of study, reflection, and action. There are 3 issues, and all of them are posted in the Onito room, and Mary Fulton can help you to choose which ones of those you think that we should carry on with. If you have any completed artwork to add to this piece at the front of the sanctuary, or if you would like to make something to add, please see Barbara Page or Elizabeth Donovan. Is Elizabeth here? I don't think she is. After the service. And also today after the service, the membership committee and I will be hosting a new to UUCSC class for new folks. It's the first of 2 classes. Over lunch, we'll share our spiritual journeys as a chance to get to know each other a little better and start to delve into what Unitarian Universalism actually means.
Our closing words this morning are from an anthology of essays called Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. Sometimes we are blessed with being able to choose the time and the arena and the manner of our revolution. But more usually, we must do battle where we are standing.
Please rise now as you're willing and able as we sing our closing hymn together, Carry the Flame. Let's stay right where we are. And you know, last week it was really heartening to see everybody put their hands in front of their hearts. So let's do that again this week, shall we?
They didn't mute us.
There you go.
Huh?
What?
Hello. What were you waving?
Hi. They didn't mute the phone there, so it's kind of hard to hear. There's some technical difficulties today.
What was happening? You were waving to try to get somebody's attention.
Oh, I lost internet connection, and so when I got back in, I was no longer co-host, so I couldn't record. And I was supposed to record Kathy Point talk, and I didn't get it. I feel so bad. Rev Denis finally saw me and recorded his sermon, but I'm sad about that. There is a note that it's being recorded up in the.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure who's recording. Probably Denis' phone. hard for me to hear with the noise in the background.
Uh,
The problem with the hosting is not being able to communicate because,
right.
Right,
yeah, it is an issue. And I understand that there's so
Uh,
much going on there that it's hard to focus on what's happening with us Zoom folks. Here we are. So is anyone going tomorrow night?
I don't know.
on it, but I definitely want to hear the service, either, either from home or at church.
I'm gonna decide one way or the other. I need
Yeah,
that because then it's hard.
right.
I don't know if
Me
anyone else
too.
is feeling it, how tough it is that the inauguration is tomorrow.
Yeah,
Very hard.
I'm torn about whether I'm going to listen or not to the inauguration.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to watch the inauguration. Really don't. Do you want to watch it?
Unless they
I
try.
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious what your reasons would be for watching it. I'm interested.
All right,
I
I'm
want
gonna
to
go
witness it,
on.
you know?
See if I
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah. I'm, I'm gonna head out. Thank you so much.
Bye, Yvonne. Yeah, Brittany needs the silence.
I know I can't do it. I would normally be co-host and I think I would be able to mute
Right,
it, but I
right.
can't.
No problem.
Very
All
unfortunate.
right.
Okay.
Well, it was
Just didn't
very good
work
to
out.
see you all.
I never lose connection and I just did. I just lost the connection and I don't know why. And I Zoom host all the time and that doesn't happen. And this is just
Yeah,
this is
Uh,
maybe the most challenging of the
yeah.
Zoom situations that I have
Mm-hmm.
to do. And I love doing it, but we'll have to work this out. I think that I'll ask them if maybe once someone made host, someone else could be co-host.
right.
Could have a second co-host, so then we
Yeah,
could communicate, because we can communicate on Zoom between each other, but not, like, I don't
yeah,
have anybody's, I had Kathy Swink's cell phone, but I know that everyone's phone is shut off, and I tried to
yeah.
text her. It didn't have a
Right.
text rep, Denis. It didn't,
Mm-hmm.
so, oh
Well,
well.
that's why I don't do that. I
Yeah, it's
appreciate it that
complicated. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
appreciate that you
Yeah,
do
that
it.
would be attractive.
yeah.
Well,
I,
How's it the way into your house?
what's happening? Um, thank you, Dory. It's good to see you and Sharon.
good to
Maybe
see
see you
you.
too. Yeah,
All right.
see you soon. Bye now.
Hang in there.
Bye. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Mm-mm. Well, I need to do something better.